Video is a very powerful intelligence tool for us at Stratfor as well as for the intelligence community. In this week's Above the Tearline, we're going to break down 4 recent Mexican cartel interrogation statements with an eye towards their nonverbal cues in body language. The first cartel individual we're going to look at is Elma. Your first impressions when you look at this videotape is the very high quality of the Mexican backdrop. As you can see, there's a psychological ramification here that the Mexican government is trying to convey with the high-value targets standing in front of the SSP logos and insignias. As you run the tape a little bit, you will notice that Elma appears to be in pretty decent shape, although it appears that he hasn't slept. He's making very good eye contact with the interviewer. The next cartel high-value target we're going to look at is Elchango. Same backdrop. As you're looking at his eye movements, he's showing signs of deception with the shifty eyes towards the left. One of the most interesting parts here is you will notice that the Mexican authorities are utilizing a female interrogator in this case.
¿Cómo lo conoce? ¿Usted cómo conoce a Nazario? ¿Quién se lo presenta?
There's probably a method to their madness with that course of action. It's not unusual for the debriefing team ahead of time to think about the best person to ask questions. This very well may be on the part of the Mexican authorities in an effort to disarm the suspect to some degree or to throw him off balance. The third suspect is Elwatchi, and he's the individual that is linked towards human trafficking killings. And your first impressions as you compare and contrast him with the others is that he has the body language and demeanor, in my assessment, of a stone-cold killer. As you look at him, notice his eyes. As you take a look at his body language, he has that attitude you can see that's conveying across the videotape. You notice the furrow on his brow. He's making really good eye contact with the interviewer. It appears to me that in all probability he's handcuffed. You will also notice the swallowing motion there before he asks certain questions. And as you can see, he is conveying, even in the videotape, this air of cockiness in my assessment. Lastly, we're going to take a look at Barbie. He's an interesting individual. This is an American that went over to the cartel sides from Laredo. We have discussed him in the past in many of the major news networks as well as on our website for those of you who would like more information about Barbie. As we transition into this, keep in mind the previous suspect interviews. Take into account the general nervousness of Barbie right from the beginning as we transition in, and then you will also notice that the Mexicans are utilizing a female interrogator.
¿Y Vicente Carrillo Fuentes era igual?
Barbie was known as a ladies' man, so there might be some degree of psychological reason for the use of the female. As you look at Barbie, notice that he makes no attempt to establish or maintain good eye contact. He's looking around. He's giving off tremendous behavioral signals that indicate a high degree of nervousness. And notice him looking down and to the left. This is a survivor. This is an individual that traveled in the highest levels of the narco world. At one point in this, you will see that he lifts his handcuffed hands up and actually wipes the sweat off his brow. From an investigator's perspective, as you compare and contrast these 4 videos, what you will notice are some similarities as well as some behavioral indications to indicate that perhaps the suspect is not being as truthful as he could be. The U.S. doesn't like to release these kinds of videotapes before prosecution, and in fact, the Department of Justice and the FBI do not typically videotape suspect debriefings. The Mexicans are clearly utilizing this videotape for a couple different reasons. The first is the psychological aspect of getting this out into the media, hoping that other cartel bosses will see this. Second, remember, they are disseminating these videos for domestic consumption inside of Mexico, as well as to show the U.S. that there's some return on their investment based upon all the counter-narcotics aid that we have given the country. The above the Tearline aspect in this video is the extraordinary value of videotape as it pertains to intelligence assessments. Videotape is of tremendous value in your ability to go back to evaluate statements and to develop your follow-up questions. The other aspect from the suspect's perspective is they're going to be thinking about the ramifications of this videotape. For example, if they rat off one of their bosses, they're thinking about what happens to me when I get inside a Mexican prison. You have the ability to closely examine videotape with an eye towards truthful statements versus signs of deception, as well as nervous behavior. It's important to realize that in these kinds of custodial situations, the government in many ways holds all the cards. So the suspect that you're watching is thinking of 1,000 different things at the time, primarily geared towards survivor.